Hey guys, and welcome to Let's Click Photography. My name's Dave, and today we are talking about colour, because this morning the colour around where I am is just been weird. It's been magnificent. It's been really bright aqua blues in the sky, but that sunlight that's rising has been hitting this really grey cloud. We've had some rainbows and just, yeah, beautiful colours. And on my last video I was talking about exposure and using a histogram, and one of the things that I mentioned in that was creating a custom white balance to help manage your colours out in the field. And John Inglis, thanks very much for your comment, John, asked in the comment section how to go about doing that. So today we're going to be talking about colours, how to affect your white balance, how to create a custom white balance, and how to change your picture profiles as well, so that when you are out in the field and you want to get everything as right as possible out in the field, this is going to be really handy to you. So we've lined up a shot here. We're on the 70-200. It's over a body of water. There's nothing special about this image whatsoever, but it has got plentiful amounts of colour in the composition that's just going to help to emphasize some of the changes that we make in camera and the effect that that will have. I'm on the Canon 6D Mark II, but a lot of this will apply to any camera make whatsoever. Some of the functionality of the menus might be slightly different, some of the naming might be slightly different, but the effect it will have on your photos is exactly the same no matter what brand you shoot with or what camera body you shoot with. So just before we get onto how to change the settings, what is white balance and how does white balance affect your images? White balance is basically your camera balancing out the different color temperatures that it can see, and what it's trying to do is to get the neutral colors such as whites, grays, blacks. It's trying to line those up with how we would expect them to look, and by doing that it will bring all of the other colours to the right temperature. And colour temperature is basically as the sun rays come through the atmosphere, the temperature of that light changes, the colour in that light changes. Your camera is very, very good at picking up those subtle colour changes with auto white balance through good light. However, it's less good at doing that when the light isn't perfect. On your camera there will be a set of specific preloaded white balance options. On this Canon 6D Mark II there are 8. Ambient auto white balance is the standard, great for outdoor shooting, but indoors you might want to turn that to auto white balance white. You've then got daylight, and depending on your camera brand will depend on what these are called, but with Canon it's daylight, shade, cloudy, tungsten, white fluorescent light, flashlight, and those are the preloaded options. And then you've got 2 options for customization, which is a custom white balance and a color temperature, where you can dial in the temperature of the light in front of you. Now your camera is quite good at balancing out the temperature of light within a given scene, but sometimes it needs a bit of help, and to set up a custom white balance there's basically 2 ways that you can go about it. There's an easy way with no extra gear needed. It doesn't always work, and then there's a just as easy way, but you do need some additional items in order to help you out. The really simple way is to go into auto white balance, focus in and take a shot. Now once that shot's done, you are going to go and change 2 menu options. Now, I'd say these menu options may differ depending on your camera manufacturer, but I'm going to go into my menu system on this Canon 6D Mark II. I've got to find custom white balance. Now I have that loaded into a personalized menu, but if you've never used it before, it's called custom white balance. And what we're going to do is when we click into that, it's going to give you an option of all of the photographs that you've got stored on your memory card that it thinks are compatible with creating a custom white balance. So I have the image that we've just taken right here in front of me, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to click set to set that as my custom white balance. And then the next thing that I need to do is to come out and to change my actual white balance setting and move that across to the setting of custom. Your camera's now going to take the information that was preloaded in that image that we've just taken and use that as the white balance to balance out the colour in your image. And that's it. And that white balance will last you whilst the light remains the same. But of course, especially in those diminished light conditions where the sun is rising, the sun is setting, or this cloud movement going on, it is worth updating that custom white balance every time you think that the light has changed, and you'll notice it on your screen if you're shooting in live view. Now, the other option that I mentioned about doing white balance, you can use a couple of really inexpensive pieces of equipment to do it. So here we've got some well, a digital grey card, white card and black card. These are about 15 to 20 quid for good ones, but there's even less of an expensive way. It's not quite as technical, but a white piece of paper. Now this isn't digitally balanced, of course, because it's just a white piece of paper, so it won't be quite as accurate, but the difference of 15 to 20 pounds and a penny, you know, might make you decide that you want to go to something like this. And it's the same deal. Take a shot of your white piece of paper under your light source and use that as your custom white balance image, and you should find that your camera balances out those colours really nicely. And now that we've got your white balance set properly, the next thing we're going to touch upon very briefly is colour profiles within your camera. But before we get onto that, you'll notice there's a bell down below. Hit that, make sure you stay in touch with this channel for awesome videos just like this one. If you can't see a bell, that is because you've not hit subscribe yet, so definitely do that now. And I thank you very much for doing just that. Right, colour profiles. Once you set your white balance, you can go in and you can set your colour profiles up. There's a variety, whatever brand you're on, you'll have a variety of different colour profiles. And what they can do is they can really help you get your colours just that last bit of perfection, get some of those shadows, get some of that contrast going on for the scene that you're looking upon. Now, there's no right or wrong when it comes to the colour profiles. It's purely down to you. By playing about and trying the different picture styles, you again perfect how you get your colours and your tones to look inside of your final image. If you do find your colour looking a little bit too orange or a little bit too blue, then chances are you've got the wrong colour temperature balance going on, and this is where this is really handy. And also it's going to help you to set your histogram, because the histogram is how to get perfect exposure every time. And if you want to know more about that, then hit this video right here in front of this camera, because that's going to tell you how to make sure that you get perfect exposure, never overexpose, never underexpose ever again. My name's Dave, this has been Let's Click Photography, and from me, for now, ciao.